Hello everyone. So today we will be discussing about the international relations of May 2021. So starting with China's initiative, we can see the map where the Silk Road is going on, Maritime Silk Road, other economic corridors, then infrastructure projects, railways, oil pipelines, gas lines, ports. So coming to the debt trap diplomacy of China. So why it is in news? Because Montenegro is struggling to pay off the Chinese loan that they have taken for a highway project. So now they are in a dire financial situation. So back in 2014, they signed an agreement from China's Exim Bank for the construction of a motorway. Right now, it is around 65.9% of its GDP. That is, China is holding 25% of its public debt. So, other countries, Laos, Kyrgyzstan, Maldives, also facing such situation. So, this has raised concerns by regarding the use of debt trap diplomacy. And in 2018, Center for Global Development highlighted that 8 BRI recipient countries, Belt and Road Initiative, another strategy of China, at a high risk of debt distress due to BRI loans. It includes Djibouti, Laos, Maldives, Mongolia, Montenegro, Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. So they all are suffering from this debt trap. They are highly prone to the mounting debt to GDP ratios beyond 50% and around 40% of their external debt. So they are dependent upon China. They are owed to China. So that is the situation. So what is debt trap diplomacy? So this term was coined by Indian geostrategist Brahma Chelani in 2017. So he is a renowned scholar, Indian geostrategist Brahma Chelani coined this term. This type of diplomacy is referring to offering projects or loans on terms that end up being too difficult for countries to repay, so they can't repay, eventually compelling them to accept the political or economic concessions. So that is debt trap diplomacy, and this is going on in developing nations and often lured by China's offer of cheap loans for transformers. So instead of infrastructure projects like ports, bridges, motorways, highways, they need to give some loan. Okay, so this is the way they adopt. 2011 in Tajikistan, 2017 Sri Lanka, Pakistan, then Laos 2020. In 2011, what happened is China secured 1,158 Palmer Mountain stud from Tajikistan. 2017 Sri Lanka Hambantota. Then Pakistan Gudar Port. Laos concession to a national power grid. So all these practices undertaken by China point towards their engagement at trap diplomacy. So financing non-viable projects and predatory lending and debt distresses, opaque lending practices, there is no transparency at all, lack of debt resolution assistance to borrowing countries, then acquiring strategic assets. For instance, Hambantota, that is part of the string of pearls in the Indian Ocean region. So this is the process. So these developing nations are often lured by China's offer, and then mostly lower middle income countries. So opportunity for China to demand concessions. Then concession includes control of strategic valuable ports, and their lands will be under their control. Then financial economic dominance. Okay, then domination of Chinese interest in all these projects. So this can create their hegemony also in those regions, control, colonialism. Use of non-subsidy expensive credit to finance development projects. So these are the things, and then reasons why the countries are vulnerable, because instead of infrastructure development, so that is a promise given to these middle and low income countries, then lack of accessible funding, there is no other way out, governance issues, so these countries are unstable countries. So what is the way forward? Adequate risk assessment is needed. We need to measure the viability of such projects and sustainable debt resolution, multilateral. If such a situation is happening, then China needs to be cooperated with other multilateral institutions. Then Paris Club. China is also a member of Paris Club. What is that? An informal group of official creditors. So India is also an ad hoc participant. Okay. So implications of debt trap, global, debt-ridden countries, China, India, all these dimensions. In global level, it's a hidden debt problem. Then for those countries, vulnerability and accountability all are at stake. Then case of China, strategic assets. India, security risk and increased political influence of China. And you can see the map where the Tibet is there, then area illegally ceded to China by Pakistan, Sichuan, all those areas. Then alternatives, what are other Chinese infrastructure financing, then Blue Dot Network, other global initiative, certification body that will evaluate infrastructure construction projects in the Indo-Pacific. This is an institute from the US, Japan, Australia. Blue Dot. Then CDRI, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure by UN and other stakeholders. An Asia-Africa Growth Corridor, it's between India and Japan. EU's new connectivity strategy, Trans-European Transport Network, Global Infrastructure Facility, it is an initiative G20 countries. Then Build Back Better World, G7. Recently there was the G7 summit. Okay. Build Back Better World. So these are the things about debt trap diplomacy. It's related to China. Chinese. Brahma Chalani coined that term. Okay, then we see the backed, then consequences, process, everything. Okay.